And if you were paying attention just a moment ago when Captain Ryan told you where the life jackets were located, coming up is the spot in the river you'd probably want to use them. We're now approaching the deepest point in the St. Croix River. The water in this sharp bend directly in front of the boat is in excess of 100 feet in depth. And we just talked about the log jams here back in 1886. This was the site of the world's largest log jam. Over 250 million feet of timber was jammed here, with the logs piled as high as the corner rock located to our right front. It's about 50 feet high, and then the logs were backed upstream behind us for 7 miles. And it took 6 weeks of their summer using horse teams, steamboats, and eventually dynamite to break this log jam free. It was estimated they could build 20,000 three-bedroom homes with the lumber from that log jam. I will caution those of you in front of the pilot house. Again, we have to blow the horn for the corner. The corner rock itself, still to our right front, has been split into 3 equal vertical sections. Although this was done by the glacier over 10,000 years ago, it looks as smooth and even as if it were cut with a knife. Look to the center section of that rock. About 8 or 10 feet above the water's edge, you should be able to see a heavy steel ring, and it's in the shadows a little bit right now, but there are additional rings on the flat of the rock as we go around the corner. The most obvious one will be about even with the railing here on the upper deck of the boat. Well, these steel rings were put in by the loggers, and they were used to tie up their tugboats and log rafts and even large steamboats that came up the St. Croix and Mississippi rivers, some from as far south as New Orleans. There's about 50 of these rings and hooks left throughout the Dells area. Most have the name Sweden stamped right in them. It's a high-grade Swedish bell steel that hasn't rusted or corroded in the last 150 years, and they'll ring like a chime if you hit them with a rock or a hammer.
Beautiful. You see the Taylor's Falls Queen tied up to our second landing. The second landing is a floating dock, and it's near to the site of the original steamboat landing for the Port of Taylor's Falls. The spot that many immigrants came and walked, carrying all of their belongings into their farm. About 80% of the immigrants that came to this part of the country were of Scandinavian descent, and among the reasons they came here was the color of the water, the rocks, the trees, and of course the climate.
Ben, Helen didn't want to come out too windy.
And we were discussing just at the beginning of our presentation about the height of the water and how low it is right now. And give you an idea of how high the water was in Memorial Day. As you see these concrete steps here to our right front. Well, that gangplank that's on the bottom step right now was on top of a dock that was sitting up on the blacktop. This rock wall that we're looking at here directly to our right was submerged. So it kind of gives you an idea of the difference in water height from that to that.
Look at this guy up here climbing down. You see that guy up there climbing down the ladder? No, I'll skip it too. Have a think about
Well,
it.
it's like you got
They say let them stay up there and I'll take
you're
that.
not supposed to. Some of that they used to do that, but now you're not.
And coming up now is the most significant rock formation on the trip. It's the large rock cross from which this river received its name. Look down ahead of the boat, then go over to the left-hand of Wisconsin shore. You get a clear view of this large stone cross. It's a side view. The cross starts about 20 feet above the water, then is another 20 feet high itself, shaped a little more like the letter T from this angle. It's formed by the projection of the rock, and it's the upper half of the bare vertical cliff, almost directly in front, a little bit to the left. Remember, we're looking at it from a severe side angle. From here, it looks like it should face the center of the river down in Helens. Well, this cross is where the river received its name. St. Croix is French and means Holy Cross. It was discovered and named by the French explorer in 1679.
come here, climb the rocks, and then jump into the lake where the water, the river.
Really a popular lake,
Yeah.
popular water.
And we can still see the cross from this angle.
Where's the cross? I can't see.
Again, all formed by the projection. But watch the area of the cross as we approach it. The closer we get to it, the more blend into the rest of the cliff. It becomes increasingly difficult to see. You do need the distance and angle to find it, but I've been accused of having a good imagination. I think the cross changes into the profile of the face of our first president, George Washington. Just like you've seen on the head of the quarter, just starting to take shape now. It's a very large stone face. He's looking for a left or back upstream. The large notch in the center of the cliff forms his chin. The cross arm on the cross to the left his nose. The cut above it is his eye.
Oh, we were just
And
talking
then in the
about
back
that.
area, you can see the top
We were just talking about that. I did that when I was in
the
high
old
school.
wigs they used to wear. Oh, it's a very
First time I
large
ever
stone
did it.
face. I think that looks like a profile of the face of George Washington. I'm not the only one with a good imagination. Prior to his time, he started in the 1960s, known by the Waters, and the early riverboat captains and the old Egyptians. And please keep in mind that all of our findings that we point out are naturally formed by the glacier, and in most cases they do require a bit of imagination to see. You know, we're often told on our evening dinner cruises, after a couple of cocktails from the bar, you can find almost anything in the drink.
It was George Washington.
We are now approaching the end of the upper dells. Dells is an old French word spelled D-A-L-S, roughly translated. These water running through a narrow rocky gorge near to our front left. You'll see how abruptly the water end changes to sand and later on changes again to sandstone. The greyish rock of the dells we talked about earlier is but soft as very hard. Geologists tell us it was formed in the Mesoproterozoic era about 1.1 billion years ago. It's a very hard rock, harder than most compositions of granite, and what we know is travel. The water we've been traveling through has been very deep, between 40 and 60 feet, as of every 100 feet in the next corner. Now that we're getting out of the rocky portion of the river, it becomes very shallow. As you can see, today anywhere from about 14 inches to 10 feet from the main channel. Even less than that in parts of the river.
I actually stopped in there, but I actually didn't make that. That's on the picture.
You can walk across the river now, when you from Wisconsin shore, and if you were careful where you step, you sure would get your knees wet, you barely get your ankles wet, very shallow on the left side of the island.
Keep talking
One of
about
the reasons for that are the rocks that are sitting up out of the river ahead of us. This was
apparently they don't really know. Billions of years ago? Probably more than 10,000 years ago.
Over the years, the restrictions...
When it was created.
I don't believe it.
No. Fairly stable. Fairly stable. Stable table. Stable table, yeah. I believe we can go through here. It's pretty shallow.
I hope he knows where he's going.
Yeah, we're gonna run the rapids, I guess. Amazing how different the shoreline is. On the south side of the lake. Just have a shallow bottom on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get to those.
continue downstream, I have the opportunity to tell you about the boat you're riding on. This is the Taylor's Falls Princess. It was built in 1985 on the across Wisconsin River, right up the Mississippi and St. Paul River, to her home port near Taylor's Falls. The Princess is 80 feet long, 23 feet wide. Fully loaded, we can carry up to 250 passengers and we weigh about 30 tons. Despite our weight and size, we draw only 17 inches of water. This is due to the flat bottom design of the hull. We don't have a keel on the bottom. In fact, the hull material is all aluminum. We're very lightweight for our size. And the paddle wheels on the stern or back of the boat actually pushes, and they are the only means of propulsion, making the Taylor's Falls wing. We passed at that second landing in this boat. Taylor's Falls Princess that we're landing on today, the first authentic paddle wheel boats. This farm was St. Croix River since 1924.
Is he saying that this
Okay,
is a
now
paddle
the
wheel boat?
on the lower deck.
Oh, is
We
it?
have a small snack bar. The restrooms are also located on the lower deck. Now the Princess has many uses in addition to the excursion that you're on today. This is a primary function, but it's also available, especially on evenings for public dinner cruises and private charters. We have public dinner cruises on Friday and Saturday nights this time of year, and private charters are available at any time. We have practically everything you can imagine on the boat, everything from high school proms to square dances, class and family reunions, business meetings and parties, wedding receptions, and one of the most exciting reasons to charter the boat is for a wedding itself. And directly to our right is the lower portion of the Minnesota Interstate Park. This is the campground, and the picnic area is a little farther down the street. This is a very modern campground. They have electricity at many of their campsites. They have running water. They even have hot water showers. We often tease the campers who ride with us when they tell us they come to love it or they get away from their neighbors and have a little privacy. But originally this campground was the site of a French fur trading post. Over the years there was a large sawmill located about this point along the shore. Legend has it the sawdust piles are as high as the treetops. In 1895, the land was given to the Park Service and it became the second state park in Minnesota. Itasca State Park was the first.
Beautiful day.
The Wisconsin Interstate Park is located to the left. You can see one of their many picnic areas. It's a considerably larger park. Their main campground is a little farther down the street, but it is hidden behind the tree line. The Wisconsin Park was founded in the year 1900, and it was the first state park in Wisconsin. These two parks combined to become the first interstate park system in the nation. We are often asked about the color of the water here in the St. Croix. I'm sure you've noticed the reddish brown, almost a root beer looking river. This color comes from the bark and roots of the tamarack trees that grow up at the surface of the river, as well as all vegetation that line the upper St. Croix River and tributaries. This vegetation gives off tannins, organic acid that dye or color the water like a food coloring wood. It doesn't seem to harm the river. The Department of Natural Resources and the National Park Service monitor the water quality, and they tell us the St. Croix is one of the cleanest major rivers left in the nation today. Being such a clean river, boasts a wide variety of freshwater fish and mussels. There are 40 species of mussels in the area that we travel in, 2 of them on the endangered species list. We have 94 species of fish, practically everything native to Wisconsin and Minnesota, including trout. There are northern, muskie, bass, walleye, and the largest fish in the river is the catfish and the sturgeon. Now, we've seen the catfish probably in excess of 60 pounds. And if you look down at the head of the boat, you'll see a small island with lots of big trees growing. That island is known as Glass Island, and it doesn't belong here. It was formed and named in 1932 with a road contract. Highway 8 through the sandstone cliff into our right side. They see traffic going up and down the hill. That contractor put 20 tons of dynamite in the sandstone cliff. He was attempting to roll the cliff over and build a highway on it just as it is today. However, we set the charge off. In addition to breaking many windows in the surrounding homes, he also threw sandstone all the way across the river in the vicinity of the highway. All the way into Wisconsin, he dammed up the entire river. Well, the poor contractor was very quick to find out. The Corps of Engineers has practically no sense of humor about such things. They made him dredge the river back out again, which he did at his own expense, leaving and adding to just one small amount. Well, the contractor, like many of us, had to find someone which to place the blame. So naturally, he blamed his cute young secretary back at the Home Office, saying she had misplaced a decimal point on the purchase order for the dynamite. Instead of 20 tons, it was only supposed to be 2. The error was found out too late, and the item. Now there is a legend about Black Diamond. I want you to know the both truth and not believe in the legend, but the legend has it. That secretary is now buried somewhere at the base of that site. We told you where the deepest they barely showed the shallowest point, or at least the shallowest travel through, just along these 2 green buoys that are looking for our front left. The water there in the channel is about 14 inches deep today. Now, you recall I said we found 17 inches of water. So we lift the 30 tons of boat at 3 inches. So at this point, we're turning the boat around. We'll head back upstream. We're operating our 45-minute trip. For this reason, we would very much like to be operating the longer 80-minute trip. But we're hoping for rain. Maybe we'll get some in the next week or 2.
How you doing, Don?
Oh, you gotta have them. They're fancy with the brakes and
You better put it in your purse. It's gonna fall off. You better put it in your phone. Here's where they have the picnics and stuff.